同学们，大家晚上好。我们今天的海外研究生院校语音分享会活动呢，现在就要正式开始了。然后今天我们也非常的有幸请到了 Fordham University Gebelli School of Business 福特汉姆大学加贝利商学院，以及 Suffolk University 萨福克大学，以及 Glen Institute of Higher Education 格里昂酒店管理学院的招生官老师，为大家带来今天这场干货满满的分享活动。在今天的直播当中呢，同学们不仅可以了解到每所大学不同优秀的专业和项目，也可以了解到海外学习生活和工作的真实面貌。接下来我们将依次邀请各大学的代表们逐一上台，每所大学将会有15分钟的时间介绍自己的学校。我们也会在活动中间向大学提出我们之前收集到的大家最感兴趣的一些问题。这些问题呢，主要包括国外的学习、工作还有生活这3个方面。当然，我们也非常欢迎同学们向我们这些经验丰富的招生官老师提出属于你们自己的问题。好了，那么接下来我们就要隆重的请出今天的第一所学校的招生官老师上场，他是来自 Fordham University Gebelli School of Business 福特汉姆大学加贝利商学院的 Lawrence 老师。Let's welcome Lawrence. Hi, Lawrence.
Good evening.
Hi. Yeah, we can hear you. You can just start it.
Great. Good evening, everyone. My name is Lawrence Murray, and I am the Dean of Admissions here at the Gebelli School of Business at Fordham University. I'm here to talk to you about our portfolio of specialized master's programs. Next slide, please. As you can see here, we have a wide variety of specialized master's programs across a few verticals. In our analytics vertical, we have our MS in Applied Statistics and Decision Making, Business Analytics and Marketing Intelligence. In our business technology vertical, we have an MS in Information Technology. In our finance vertical, we have 2 programs, a Master's of Science in Global Finance and a Master's of Science in Quantitative Finance. In the management vertical, we have the Master's of Science in Management, a media management program, as well as a strategic marketing communication. And finally, in our professional services vertical, we have 2 accounting-focused degrees, a Master's of Science in Professional Accounting and a Master's of Science in Professional Taxation. All of our master's programs are STEM certified with the exception of the Master's of Science in Management and the Master's of Science in Strategic Marketing Communication. So this means as an international student, you receive 2 additional years of OPT after you graduate to work in the US. So that's a 3-year total work authorization in the US. Next slide, please. We recognize that you are going to graduate school of business to get a job in business, but we also believe in developing well-rounded and sort of a holistic approach at developing you as a whole person. And part of that whole person development is around leadership. And so we've created something that's a requirement for all of our master students, the Gebelli Leadership Certification. It includes a series of leadership assessments, a series of leadership simulations, the opportunity to engage with leadership mentors and leadership coaches, and then the opportunity to do leadership networking. When we ask our employers whether they're hiring international students or whether they're hiring domestic students, one of the areas of concern one of the areas of development or areas of strength that they wish the students had more of is around the leadership skills and personal and interpersonal communication. So this is our attempt to help you develop those skills. Next slide, please. Again, we recognize that students who are choosing to go to graduate business school have a strong desire to get a job in business. We have a full-service career development office that helps support students in achieving their career aspirations and their goals. This is just a sampling of the companies that the members of our career development team have worked at in the past. As you can see, our team is staffed with people that have come from fantastic backgrounds at great multinational companies. Next slide, please. In our Career Development Center, there's a wide variety of opportunities for engagement and activity. In addition to one-on-one, here's a few, this is just a sample, one-on-one career advising, specialized workshops and group seminars, We have a career spotlight series, and we have an alumni spotlight series as well. So every Friday we bring in speakers. Pre-COVID, it was in person. In COVID, it's virtual, but the virtual has actually allowed us to host more spotlight speakers on Friday. So now we're doing 3 or 4 speakers on a Friday rather than just doing one pre-COVID. We help you with your interview skills through mock interviews. We have corporate information sessions and company site visits. Again, many pre-COVID company site visits were done in person at the company, and now we're doing virtual visits, and corporate information sessions were done on campus, and now again we're doing those virtual. COVID has really given us the opportunity to extend our reach. We have the opportunity to engage with companies and recruiting organizations that didn't recruit on our campus before. So the graduating class of 2020 and the graduating class that will graduate here in a few months in 2021 will actually see some of the highest employment rates at the time of graduation and the widest diversity of companies that the students are working for. And the next slide, you'll get a quick sample of some of those student outcomes in terms of where those students are going. Again, as you can see, these are some of the world's top companies across a wide variety of sectors and industries. Next slide, please. We are right in the heart of Manhattan in New York City on the East Coast of the US. Despite their COVID really being a challenge for the entire world's economies, we are still the economic engine of the United States and one of the key economic engines of the world. So still a hotbed of private sector and public sector jobs. Also being in this region, you have access to nearly 10,000 Gebelli alumni that are in the New York tri-state area. That's New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut, the states that touch New York. You have access to 40,000 global Gebelli alumni around the world, and then nearly 200,000 Fordham University alumni around the world. So you're very well connected to alumni in any engagement or any level of activity that you should choose. Next slide, please. While we expect you to work hard in the classroom and we expect you to develop as leaders, part of that leadership development and that interpersonal skill development is also outside of the classroom. So we do have a reasonable expectation that students who are joining us will get involved in our student clubs and organizations. We really have a couple of different types of student clubs and organizations. Some of them are more career focused, like the Fordham Finance Society and the Management Consulting Society. Some of them are more affinity related. That would be clubs like the Fordham Women in Business or the Black and Hispanic MBA Association. And then some of them are specialty focused, like Net Impact. We also have a very active International Students Association, as well as a Chinese Business Association. And we also have a growing number of, again, specialty student clubs and organizations that are related to sports. We have a table tennis club. We have a soccer, that's European soccer. And we've got an ultimate Frisbee club that actually just won an ultimate Frisbee championship here in the fall. So lots of ways for you to get engaged. And again, our expectation is that students are getting engaged outside of the classroom. If your plan is to come to graduate school and just sort of study in the library and study in your class, you're not going to get the full experience, and Fordham and the Gebelli School might not be the right school for you. Next slide, please. Here are our application requirements, and they're pretty standard sort of across the board for many of the graduate programs that you'll see. You need to submit a resume, your official transcripts. We can take your unofficial transcripts for you to start your application. We are now a test optional school. So all programs are test optional with the exception of our Master's of Science in Quantitative Finance. The test optional for the GMAT or GRE. We still require a language competency exam. You can go to our website and find out more detailed information, but we take the TOEFL, the IELTS, the PTE, and the Duolingo English test. All of these exams now have an online at-home option, so that shouldn't prevent an applicant from sitting for one of these exams. You have essays, recommendation letters, and then most students, most candidates will be invited for an admissions interview. Next slide, please. Here are our deadlines. As you can see, our last deadline was April 9th. And then our final deadline for round 5 is June 11th. So I know that many of you may not be looking for fall of 2021 and that you may be looking for fall of 2022. Our deadlines are about the same every year. The actual day may change just a little, but they tend to be towards the end of October, towards the end of November, towards the end of January, the beginning of April, and the beginning of June in every year. Next slide, please. Here is some information about the cost. This is pretty straightforward. We charge per credit, and so you simply need to look at the number of credits that are assigned to each program. If you go to our website, the very first landing page for any of the programs will tell you how many credits that program is. So for example, if your program is 30 credits, you would multiply $1,682 times 30 credits to get the total tuition. And then here is the chart for the different fees that are assigned or assessed for particular programs. Again, there's a hyperlink here. If you want to dig into this a little deeper, you can go to our website. Next slide, please. We recognize the value of providing funding to our students. We do provide generous funding for our students, domestic and international students. For our master's programs, the range of scholarships really is from about $15,000 US to $35,000 US. This is assigned at the time of admission, so no additional application is necessary. Once you've matriculated into the program, you have access to continuing student scholarships and graduate assistantships. These are selective processes, so you have to submit an application. And then throughout your tenure with us, we partner with a few student loan organizations like Prodigy Finance and Empower Financing. So a wide variety of options to help you fund your degree. Next slide, please. There are lots of ways to engage with us virtually. If you're not able to make it to campus, we have a new virtual campus tour. You can visit our website to see that. When you visit our website, you'll also see a variety of other ways to sign up for engagements with us, small group chats, one-on-one sessions, information sessions. We've got some pretty cool multimedia videos for you to look at. You could obviously sign up for an admissions interview if you plan on submitting an application, workshop seminars, and then the opportunity to meet students and alumni virtually through our partner Unibuddy. We also have a very active Chinese website. Towards the end of the presentation, I will give you the link for that. Next slide, please. I just want to talk quickly about our response in COVID-19. So we made the decision, we were already making this decision to be test optional as it relates to the GMAT or GRE. So COVID just accelerated our decision making. We elongated or extended the deadlines. So rather than having our final deadline in May, we now have our final deadline in June. And we've also lengthened the amount of time that students can submit their enrollment deposits or make a decision. We've made significant investments in educational technology and instructional design and deploying instructional designers and course builders. For this past year, we've been in what we call a high flex or a hybrid model. So it's in-person classes plus online classes. So if you're in the US and in the New York tri-state area, you have the option to go in person. But if you're not, you can do online classes. For fall of 2021, we do plan on being in person primarily. If you're not able to join us, we will accommodate those students with virtual engagements. And we also have strong health and safety protocols, which includes on-campus density reduction. Those strong health and safety protocols will persist into fall of 2021 as well. And finally, here is my contact information for our team.
Hi, Lawrence. Can you see the PPT? I think you might have some lag issue.
Yeah, it's a lag issue. So right now you should be looking at a slide.
Like our admissions.
The names of our admissions team and their contact information by program. So if you have any questions about anything, please don't hesitate to reach out. to anybody. You can see that there. And then finally, as we wrap up our conversation this morning, here is our WeChat QR code, and there's the link to our Chinese website. So lots of great information there for you to take a look at. So right now we will take some questions.
All right, thanks for your great sharing. And now we're going to jump right into the Q&A session. And I'm going to ask the first question that was we prepared for this question. So I'm going to go this first. So how to find a program that is the best fit for students' interests and for future goals?
Excellent. That's a great question. Finding which program is the best fit for you as it relates to your goals. You can contact any of our admissions officers and set up an informational interview or a counseling session, and they will have a conversation with you about what your past studies, your academics, and talk to you a little bit more about your interests and help you come to an understanding of what some options are for you. So everybody's on a different journey. Everybody has a different path. And so I encourage you to reach out to us and set up an information interview or a counseling session to help walk through what your goals and objectives are, and we'll help you determine which one of our programs is the best fit.
All right, great. Okay, so next question is for the international student, if they want to apply for the scholarship, how much money they can get in the end if they can get to the scholarship?
Yeah, so there's no application for scholarships at the time of admission, or admission scholarships. Your application for admission is your application for scholarship. And those scholarship awards at the time of admissions range from $15,000 US to $35,000 US. Once you've accepted our offer of admission and you've registered for classes and you've actually matriculated as a student, you then have an option to apply for what we call continuing student scholarships, as well as graduate assistantships. And graduate assistantships typically are either $3,500 US or about $7,000 US, depending on the type of graduate assistantship. And then the continuing student scholarships typically range from the individual awards are $5,000 US to about $10,000 US. And we award about 30 or 40 of those continuing student scholarships per year.
All right, great. Okay, so the last question the students ask, will I have a better chance of being admitted if I apply in the first round?
You know, that's a great question. What is the best round to apply in? We provide all candidates with a series of deadlines. And really, we leave that up to you to decide when you feel that you have the best application. If you know that you might need to take the GMAT or GRE if your grades maybe aren't as strong as what you think they should be, or they don't align with some of our GPA ranges. You might be someone who needs to take the GMAT and GRE, and that might facilitate you taking or submitting your application a little bit later. So it really depends on sort of where you feel you are in the application process. There's no disadvantage in terms of scholarships if you apply in June versus applying in October. We look at strong candidates in any round, and strong candidates we will award a scholarship. It doesn't matter what round you apply in.
All right, thanks, Lawrence. Thanks for your professional answer. Okay, so that will be all for your session today, and we hope to see you next time.
Great. Thank you very much, and have a great evening.
Bye. 好，非常感谢 Lawrence 老师为我们带来的精彩分享。那么接下来第二所学校呢，我们将有请到的是 Suffolk University 的 Scott 老师。Let's welcome Scott. Hi, Scott.
Hey, good evening, everybody. It's morning here. All right.
You can just start it.
Great. All right. So yes, I am Scott. Nice to meet you all. I hope you're doing well. And we can go ahead to the next slide. So a little bit about Suffolk. We are right in the heart of Boston, which is in the northeast of the United States. We were founded in 1906 as a private university, and we have quite a few international students, so you will not be alone. And we also have quite a few international faculty as well, the majority of which are coming from China. So again, you will not be alone on campus with your fellow countrymen. We are a mid-sized institution, as you can see. That's fine. You can go ahead to the next slide. We're good. And again, we really try and leverage our location in the heart of Boston so that you can get practical experiences and take them with you into the real world. So when it comes to accreditation, we are nationally and regionally accredited. The major accreditation to pay attention to is AACSB, particularly when you're looking at business schools. And this is an international accreditation that about 300 schools have throughout the world. So we're very proud of that. So it's worth asking if you are not sure if the school that you're applying to has that accreditation. And we can go to the next slide. All right, so just zooming in on Northeast Boston, or excuse me, Northeast United States. This is a hot area. Fordham is a train ride away, right down the train. And then a little further south, about 2 hours, is Washington, D.C. So regardless of what your interests are, again, particularly business, this is in politics. This is a hot area with a lot of capital ready to be invested and to play with, basically, if you're interested in finance. Next slide. So again, Suffolk leverages location. We have an amazing location right in downtown Boston, which is an amazing city. And you can see the main clusters that Boston has in terms of business down below there. So finance, healthcare, biotech, and politics. You can see the financial district is about a 10-minute walk. Boston's a pretty small city. So from campus, we get many students who are already working in the financial district, and being able to be in class with people with 5 or 10 years of experience is incredibly helpful, both in terms of learning, but also in terms of networking and getting that job once you leave the program. So next slide. So as I was talking about, when it comes to capital ready to be invested, I think it's helpful to have this map, and you can see, of course, in San Francisco with Silicon Valley and the big tech companies, that's the most popular or has the most capital ready to be invested. But then you look at Boston, and Boston's actually bigger than New York if you look at that bubble. So certainly, again, a great spot to be for business of all sorts, but particularly finance and accounting. We have all 4 big accountancy firms housed in Boston as well. Next slide. So as I've been talking about, we leverage our location. So how do we do that? Through experiential learning. Those come in the form of flash consultancy projects where you are working directly with either a startup in the city, which there are many, having MIT and Harvard right across the river. But there are also quite a few opportunities with bigger firms. So Nike, Reebok, different marketing firms, Boston Consulting Group. All of those are furnished by our faculty, so you have an instant connection to these firms. And we also have quite a few internships and practicums that are available to you, also with these firms, be it big or small. It's global in scope, our education. So as mentioned, we have a lot of international students, a lot of international faculty, and the curriculum itself is rooted in a global society and global economy. So understanding, and that's part of why we have that AACSB accreditation. And it's outcome-based. Because of our size, not being a giant institution, we have about 1,200 graduate students. You get the attention that you deserve and you need. So when it comes to our career services office, we have a very involved alumni base. So tapping into them, again, because of our location, a lot of our grads are only working a walk away. So having access to them and that base, and also just teachers and professors that want to teach you as opposed to just churn out research grants, which you can find at some of the larger institutions. Next slide. So as I mentioned, and I think it's worth highlighting, Boston is a world-class city in terms of finance, healthcare, and technology. So at the intersection of a couple of those, you can see finance, technology, and biotech. So if you're interested in any of those areas, this is a great city in general, and Suffolk does a really good job of embedding itself into these different clusters and making sure that you understand how important that is and how to read a city. Next slide. And it's coming. Trying to remember what.
Yeah, I think mine have some like lag issue. So here is 50 plus programs.
Gotcha. Yeah. So there's a list of our programs. We have quite a few, and that includes dual degree programs as well. And for many of those, that only involves studying an additional just one semester of full-time study in order to reach 2 degrees. And we can go to the next slide, please, which I think has more info on the dual degrees. It does not. I messed up. So generally, the MBA program is our biggest graduate program, and we have 16 available concentrations. You do not have to declare a concentration. These are some of the more popular ones that we offer. And again, speaking to that experiential learning, the travel seminars are included in tuition. You go to London, Germany. It depends on your functional area of interest. But students love those, and it's a great way to meet your faculty and meet your peers in sort of a more close way. Next slide. So as mentioned, here's that dual degree slide. There are multiple degrees at Suffolk that are STEM designated, and several of them are listed here, with business analytics, marketing being the main ones. So keep that in mind as well. We do have, if you just want to do an MBA, our MBA program with a concentration in business intelligence is also STEM designated. So you do not have to do a dual if you want that STEM designation. Next slide. So in terms of application process, a few dates to keep in mind. It's rolling admission, so the earlier the better is the bottom line. And we can go ahead to the next slide. So transcripts, this is pretty standard. You can see our English language test scores on the right-hand side there. GRE or GMAT is not required for just about every program. And if it is required, there are multiple waivers. So that's pretty self-explanatory, and that's where I come in to help you out if you have any questions. We'll go to the next slide. And financial aid. Similar to Fordham, we do not require you to apply separately for financial aid. So in your application, you will be rated for aid. And in your admission letter, should you be admitted, you will have your package outlined. So that is helpful. And you'll also have a dedicated financial aid counselor. And next slide. All right, yeah, so wrapping it up, I encourage you to look at Boston a little bit deeper. It's an amazing city. You can walk across it in about a half an hour, 45 minutes. So it's a small city, but it has all of the benefits of a big major city. And with that, I think that's my final slide. So we can open it up for questions. Yeah, there's my information. Please email me. I'm happy to help you.
Okay, great. Thanks for your awesome sharing. So now we're going to jump right into the Q&A session. And Nico, to solve the most of problems, so we do prepared a few more. And the first question is it normal for international students to do internships at your university?
Yes, absolutely. Most of our international students, if not all, are full-time, which means that the internship requirement is required. So we have a whole office, and all of our faculty really have internship placement to help you find what you're looking for. We don't just send you off and say, go find an internship. As long as you speak with your advisor, speak with career services, we can help you get that internship that you're looking for.
Cool. And the second question is, I also asked for him. So, and also I want to know more about your advice for this question, is how to find a program that is best fit for my interests and future goals.
Yeah, that's sort of the bottom line, right? I think meeting with, if offered, meeting with an admissions counselor after you do your preliminary search and understand which programs you're interested in schools, talk with the advisors, the admissions counselors like myself. And a lot of the time when I meet with students, we end up parsing out what exactly they want to do and where the best program fits in. So a lot of it is doing your homework and looking at your dream job and seeing what type of education they are looking for. And again, meeting with representatives from the university is always helpful.
All right, great. So the last question is, what gives schools in an urban setting an advantage?
Yes, yeah. So as you could imagine, getting an internship where you're out in the middle of nowhere is probably pretty tough. So having international organizations right down the street and faculty that are really tapped into that ecosystem, that's a major advantage. You want to be in the mix, especially for flash consultancy projects as well. It's a lot easier when you have KPMG right down the street, as opposed to having to do it on a video call or whatever it may be. So yeah, definitely my advice is to look for a program in a city, be it Boston, New York, a major area. So yeah.
All right, great. Thanks for your professional answer. So that will be all for your session, and we hope to see you next time. Have a nice day.
Thanks, everybody. Take care.
好，非常感谢Scott 老师为我们带来的精彩的分享。然后接下来我们要有请到今天的第3所学校，也是我们今天最后一所学校的赵生冠老师上场。他是来自 Glenn Institute of Higher Education 格里昂酒店管理学院的 Harold 老师。Let's welcome Harold. Hi,
Good
Harold.
evening. Can you hear me? Can you see me?
Yeah, we can see you and hear you perfectly. You can just start it.
Excellent, thank you. All right, so you might have already said it. My name is Haider Ortiz, and I represent Qna Institute of Higher Education. And we're here to basically show you what is our master's degree offering. So if you please change the slide to the next one. And the next one, please. It's just a picture. All right, to start with, Qna is one of these legendary hospitality and experience management schools situated in the heart of Europe in Switzerland, right? So Qna has been there for the past 60 years. First I want to start, with the importance of the location, right? So Switzerland is a great place. It has a lot, to go in its favor when it comes to activities, experience, exposure to industry, especially if you're looking for something in hospitality or luxury. The craft, the luxury, the groups, the environment is all there, right? In addition to that, it's located in the center, in the center of Europe, so it has very good accessibility to all the countries in Europe if you want to travel, right? So you're 2 hours from Milan, 1.5 hours from Paris, etc., etc., and the connectivity is excellent. Next slide, please. In that context, we have 3 campuses. 2 of them are situated in the French-speaking part of Switzerland, the Glion campus and the Bull campus. And we also have a complementary campus located in London if you want to experience also the campus in the UK, right? Exposure to a different culture. The 2 campuses in Switzerland are very different. One is a very classical building nested in the mountains of the Alps, and the other one is a very modern facility, 1 hour train from that campus. Both are located in small cities, relatively safe and isolated from any COVID risk. Please, next slide. All right, so this is one view of the Glion campus, the one that is located, in the Alps, nested in the mountains. And the river, this lake, sorry, it's not a river, this lake is called Glion. Next slide, please. And this is a visual of the other campus, so it's a contrast. Same, this is 45 minutes train from the other one, located in another small town, but this is more modern, it's a more contemporary type of building. Next one, please. And this is the classical type of building in the UK. So this is our other campus located 45 minutes away from London. Next slide, please. So in terms of what is the difference between Glion and other schools, there are 3 major factors. One is that Glion is more of a boutique kind of education outfit. So we have small groups. We don't recruit in critical mass. We're very selective, with the kind of people that we bring in. And that allows us to provide a very personalized experience to the students, right? So we are very focused on career. So we have a lot of internship opportunities. We have a very strong and collaborative career support office that is going to be helping you throughout your career. You're assigned with a counselor from the day you start until the day you finish, and they will help you finding both internship opportunities as well as full-time opportunities. And the third one, I think, is the network, the quality of the people that you're gonna meet. For Glion, we have a policy and a standard that we cannot enroll more than 11% per nationality. So you would always have a controlled diversity across, the classrooms, equal number of people coming from, equal or even number of nationalities. So that brings a lot of diversity and opportunities. There are some figures that you can see there, which speak for themselves in terms of how is the composition and how diverse the environment is. Next slide, please. Then let me get right into the offering. So we have 4 master's programs, and all of them are focusing hospitality and experience management. Let's start with the first one. Next slide, please. Here is all of them at a glance. So we have the first one is the Master's in International Hospitality Business. And the second one is the Master's in Luxury Management and Guest Experience. There's a third one that is more focused on innovation and entrepreneurship. And there's a fourth one, which is kind of very, it's emphasized on real estate development and finance, right? So if, please, next slide. Yeah, the description is very standard. You can see it here, at the screen. I'm not gonna kind of repeat what it is, But it's very important for you to notice that there's a lot of like practical experience, practical learning. So there's a lot of like learning by doing. You're going to have a lot of opportunities in workshops, internships, meetings. We're going to facilitate a lot of activities that happen outside the campus, as well as interactions with people that are there in the market and that can help you opening doors for when the time comes when you need to get a full-time employment. There are standard periods, so it's 1.5 years, including the internship or the capstone project. And also you, along with this, you receive full support from the campus, from the career service department, and you can also have the option to rotate, right? So as I showed you before, there are 3 campuses, and depending on how you want to configure your course, in some of the cases, you could actually go through 3 of them while you pursue this program. Next one, please. With regards to our Masters of Science in Luxury Management, this is focused on people that want to build careers either in hospitality, luxury, or luxury retail brands, right? So you're going to be part of these big groups like LVMH, Swatch Group, Kering Group, Richemont, right? So we have very strong relationship with these groups, and we help we help students finding opportunities either in the travel retail, in the marketing or the sales department of these outfits. And the reason why they recruit from us is because we are very kind of like, or we are we're one of the only institutions that focus on building experiences, right? Learning how people need to build experiences. Next slide, please. The Masters in Entrepreneurship and Innovation is focused, or is kind of like as addressing the need of people that want to start their own companies and want to basically run their own projects. So next slide, please. We're running a little bit short of time. And then the last one is real estate and development. This is basically for people that want to learn how to create wealth and revenue out of real estate, right? So it could be building hotels, running hotels, entertainment parks, or building any piece of infrastructure on a plot of land and making money, making revenue out of that. Next slide, please. So these are some of the career paths that you can choose. Hospitality and tourism, entrepreneurship and business, real estate and luxury. Those are the most predominant areas. Next slide, please. Okay, so those are important things. Accreditation. So we're ranked at 2nd and 3rd in the QS ranking for hospitality and prestige in terms of employment. There are some more very important accreditations there, like the niche accreditation, which also is shared with one of the most reputed universities in the world. Next slide, please. Again, this is about career services. I already emphasized that, so we can go to the next one. Internship, I already spoke about it. Next one. I want to go down to the requirements quickly. Next one. Next one. All right, so these are some of the brands that actually employ from us. Next one. Some more brands, very important. Next one. If we could go to the next one, please. And let's see this one for last. All right, so the requirements are very simple, very standard in terms of like the IELTS is the minimum of 5.5, and by the time that you join the program, you will have to be 21 years old, right? The rest of the requirements are pretty much standard. Your transcripts, your motivation letter, and there will be an interview for you to qualify through the program. And I think that we can. There's another slide. Next one, please. Where you can the next one, please. Where you can quickly review the tuition fees. I'm not gonna kind of like talk through it because it's very clear. And I think on this note, I'm gonna finish the presentation and leave some time for you to ask me questions on the programs or the school. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Harold. And because of the time issue, and you're pretty rushed.
Yeah, I just run through it.
It's all right. So now we're going to jump right into the Q&A session. And now we're waiting for the student to ask a question first. And I already prepared a few questions, so I want to ask you that first. Mm-hmm. Okay, so the first question, one second, let me check. The first question is, okay, how many days per week does students need to be on campus?
5 days a week.
5 days a week, right?
Yeah.
All right, great. And the next one is, could you please introduce like what is the admissions process like?
All right, the admissions is fairly simple. It wasn't one of the slides, but I can quickly tell you how it works. So there's an application portal. You can actually access the application portal through that QR code. It takes you to a widget interface, and then from there you can place your application. After that, then someone from our team, local team, will contact you, and then we'll walk you through the requirements. So you have to file, all the documents, including the letter, like a copy of the transcripts or your predictive, grades if you haven't graduated yet, and then some other requirements that are very standard. After that, admissions would set up an interview. If you qualify, if the requirements are okay, then they'll set up an interview for you to basically prove your fit, right? So there will be an admissions interview, and after that, then you will be given the acceptance if you cleared, the interview, right? And then it will be a pretty standard process in terms of the preparation of documents for the visa. We're gonna help you with that, and then the payment plan, right? So you will select the payment plan that you want for your tuition, et cetera, et cetera. So it's pretty fair. It's fairly standard, and normally it takes around 4 weeks from the moment you place your application. We resolve the case in about 4 weeks.
All right, great. Okay, the student asked is the school closed management?
Yeah, it's a branch, or it's a segment of business management, right? So there are a lot of these courses that focus on the core functions of a business, right? So you're going to be seeing marketing, sales, human resources, accounting, and depending on the specialization, you're going to emphasize on either of, right? For example, if you choose finance and real estate development, there will be a lot of finance included in that course. So yes, there are a lot of tools, management tools that will be utilized, and that will be further further build upon your skill set during the programs.
All right, great. Okay, the students still care more about find a job after graduate. So they want to ask do we will introduce the students to some good hotel work or some this good chance?
Yeah, I mean, this is one of our strongest suit, right? In terms of placing people and having relationship with big brands, not only in China but across the world. We have been doing this for 60 years. We have pretty high, high level relationship with all these hotel groups. And if you look at, if the student is interested, we can share the catalog and we can show how we place students, right? So what are the positions they're holding? What are the groups? And we can also share videos and information of how the career days happen, right? So every year we invite around 200 to 300 companies in our campus coming to run, recruitment drives, right? So they have one-to-one interviews with the students. And as I was mentioning during the presentation, we have a very strong career services department that will guide you throughout, the career, the course, right? And yeah, I think that there's no doubt that Qna is one of the strongest in the market when it comes to finding job opportunities for the students.
All right, great. And also, for the international students, especially for the Chinese students, they are also easy to find a job after graduate, right?
Yeah, actually, there is something in the advantage of Chinese students now in European, and I would say also in the US, there are a lot of brands that want to build a specific department to cater to Chinese customers, right? So that's a very good start for someone that comes with a bilingual, bicultural background, right? Someone that is Chinese and that has exposure in one of our schools. So they want those profiles to start, or to help them with the service, for the Chinese-speaking customers, right? So we're actually seeing a lot of demand for Chinese trainees and first job or entry job opportunities for Chinese students in Europe and the US, aside from, other places in Asia.
All right, great. Okay, so because of the time issue, so that will be all for your session today. And thanks so much for your sharing. And we hope to see you next time.
Yes.
Thank you
so much. It was great. Bye-bye.
Have a good day. Bye.
Likewise. Bye.
好，非常感谢我们的 Harold 老师为我们带来的精彩的分享啊。然后今天呢， 好，也是因为时间的关系呢，我们今天没有办法和3所学校的招生官老师进行逐一以及更深度的交流。我们也非常欢迎同学们去添加老师的个人联系方式，然后进行进一步的咨询。最后呢，也非常感谢今晚大家的到来，希望同学们今后可以关注我们更多的云展活动。好了，大家晚安，让我们下期再见吧，拜拜。